Hello everyone, my name is Nordic Beast, and welcome to a tutorial on basic ship construction and conveyor systems. Now, I recently had a conversation with a friend on Steam about conveyor systems and fighters. He was building a fighter, and I mentioned I use conveyor systems in all my carriers to my fighters to help recharge and reload them, to which he said he hadn't even put conveyors into his fighters. To me, this struck me as a little odd, simply because the way I construct my ships is I build internally first. I build basically my conveyors and my thrust system first. Now, sometimes I still build with a general ship idea. For example, the Valkyrie, as I've mentioned many a times before, it was more of an outline. I had a general idea, but that ship wasn't originally designed to be survival ready. Most of my ships are. I mostly use creative now to build survival ready ships for playing in survival. This room, in fact, is designed specifically for vanilla ships that Dracul and I have been building for the upcoming exploration. These are going to be ships that we submit. So the room itself isn't really the focus. It's more that this fighter was in here, which is an offshoot of one of my early fighters that I've mentioned before, that was built in a survival server when the servers and conveyors had first come out. So we are going to build a replica of this ship, but with small reactors, as this one has actually a battery on the inside. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and... oh, wrong button. Go ahead and get started with our small ship here. Now normally... why are you not moving? There we go. Now normally you wouldn't have something sitting over there like this, but since this is generally what we want to build, I want to use it as a reference, make sure I get everything right. So we're going to go ahead and start with our thruster pack. Go ahead and use mirroring. Now, my original design did not have these extra 4 thrusters on the back, but using vanilla parts, you want about as much thrust as you can get. And this is a pretty decent system. Now, these are conveyor blocks. These little guys here allow to convey anything throughout the system in 6 directions. And you also have your conveyor tubes and your curved conveyor tubes. They require less parts, but they're not as versatile. For this, we're going to go ahead and go with the cubes. Come on. There we go. And overall, we're actually going to have 10 reactors. The next one I'll show you here in a little bit. Alright, now this, again, if you're new to the game, this is called a connector. Connectors allow you to connect to other ships, or to stations or large ships. As you see here, it has a large door on top and small doors on bottom. The large doors cannot connect to the small conveyors, so we are going to go ahead and... I'm having such a time with this. There we go. We're going to go ahead and connect it up. Now, as you see, there's little yellow lights on here. If they're red, it's not connected to anything. It means the tube just stops. If they turn yellow, it's all connected. So this is a very basic reactor, conveyor, and thruster package. So let's go ahead and continue our build. Put that there. Now these are your gyros. Again, if you're new to the game, gyros allow you to maneuver, to roll and point your ship in different directions. For a ship this size, even 1 gyro would probably be fine. 2, since we're a fighter, gives you a little bit of an advantage. Now, delicate ships, such as welding ships or grinding ships, you don't want as many gyros. Or if you, say, have 2, you'd want 1 to be able to turn on and turn off. So you can do delicate maneuvers while you're trying to weld or grind a ship. So, alright, let's go ahead and add our cockpit. There we go. Now these conveyor tubes here are going to be for our later Gatling guns. And these are going to be our forward thrusters. Now right here, this ship is fully functioning as is. Everything else you add will add just function to it. And at the moment, you can't really fight anything, you couldn't drill anything, or anything else. It was simply just transport one person. So let's go ahead and give it a bit more form for its function. Oh, actually, that is the wrong part there. This here is an antenna, which is basically works as radar does in real life. And it's our beacon. Now, beacons, I tend to keep mine off most of the time. I use them only in emergency. In fact, I name mine Emergency Beacon. And only if I'm damaged and require help will I turn them on. But we'll go ahead and leave that on for now. Now, this is our 10th reactor. This little guy is simply because the conveyor system will not work unless it is powered. So if you put uranium into the system, it will not convey to your reactors. So you get an extra reactor, our jumpstart reactor, to put a little bit of uranium in just to turn the system on. And then you put the uranium into the conveyor, or excuse me, the connector, which will then convey into the system and power your entire ship. Now, this design, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it a bit hollow to save us some weight. Let's go ahead and finish off the nose real quick. Go ahead and add our rocket. There we go. And from here, now this is what I was talking about. All in here, we're just going to go ahead and keep that hollow. If you wanted, you could remove these 3 reactors, put 6 more conveyor blocks, and then 6 more reactors on the sides. Don't necessarily need it for this model. It will go a little into the overload while flying, but not much. But that is one way to to better utilize the space on the inside of the ship. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our Gatling guns, make sure that the doors connect, and everything is connected up. So let's go. Oh, last thing. I'm going to go ahead and add some cargo containers on either side of the connector. The connector, as I said before, connects you to other parts, and it itself actually carries a little bit of cargo, but not much. So went ahead and added this cargo container. Now, with ships in space, you don't really need wings, but this ship will actually have wings. And the purpose for it, there we go, is to hold our lights and our landing gear. Alright, so we can go ahead and hop in here, shut off our lights, unpark here. And we're going to go ahead and remove that landing gear. We don't need it anymore. And voila! There you go. You have a very basic, vanilla, finished, fully conveyed fighter that actually performs relatively well. Now with my fighters, or with my ships in general, I'll go ahead and add the power for the antenna and the beacon. And since there's not much else on this one, go ahead and just add our guns here. Usually I'll go to the next toolbar and add them there, but don't really need to. So go ahead and shut those off. And as you see, I have our Gatling guns and a rocket launcher, and the ship works perfectly fine. Now, 2 other things I'll touch on before I finish the episode. First thing is with a little bit of style. Now this ship originally was a bit blockier looking in its design, and actually that's a little off. That's a perfect example. There we go. I moved this block 1 back, and it just adds a little extra detail. It keeps that same angle away from there because it kind of looked funky there. See, that there looks a little weird. So go ahead and move that back. And there you go. It adds just a little extra style. Now originally this ship looked a little bit more like this. It was very basic and blocky and didn't have many sharp angles. The top was blocky. But by adding your angular blocks like this, give it like these slopes, it makes it look a little bit more interesting, a little bit more angular. Or you go ahead and say change it like that. Now I don't much like that, but you know, you might. Or you could remove that, put that there. So again, you don't necessarily have to, but toy with your design. Add detail to where there is none, just to give it a little extra. And eventually your design that you might not like at first could turn out to be something you really enjoy. The last part I'm going to go ahead and talk about is paint jobs. Now, I used to play a massive MMORPG back in the day called City of Heroes. And one of the things I learned with City of Heroes when designing superheroes is with their costumes is a 3-color costume scheme. And you can go with a 2-color. It's not as striking as a 3-color, but 2-color works just fine. I tend to go with white, orange, and black. Lately I've been going with black and orange, just simplifying it. A lot of the parts, as you notice, have some colors in it, which can help with your design. Now, as I said lately, I've just kind of been going with the black and orange, or really this is more of a charcoal gray. And I've just been doing stripes. And that in itself adds a bit of detail and design. It's very simple and it's very striking. It stands out. And with the charcoal gray, as I mentioned before, with the vanilla background here, it actually matches pretty well. And if you compare it right there to the asteroid, it kind of blends in rather well. Especially with the, I'm guessing that's iron. So, you can also, as I mentioned, go with a 3-color scheme. So let's go ahead and go back to the basic silver here. As you all know, my name is Nordic Beast, and so therefore I'm going to go with Swedish colors, which are yellow and blue. So I went with the silver and the black. Now the reason I went with this black is because a lot of modern fighters do that. They do this as anti-glare. So let's go ahead and add a stripe here. We're not going to bother with these parts. And then we're going to go with yellow. And we're not going to color the beacon because that's a 2-block part. It's really going to throw off the color here. And same thing goes with the conveyor. But right there, very simple. It stands out. Now if you paint your other ships like this, they clearly look like they should go together. And that's one of the big things with the upcoming exploration mode. They say they want your ships to look similar. That doesn't necessarily mean build them identically. It means make them look like they're part of the same faction. And I believe a paint job is extremely important to that, as you can see. These two fighters, even though they're identical, because of the separate paint jobs, look like two completely different factions. Like they could even be warring factions. So, well, that's it for now. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button or subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.